the sun rises across Uganda, a new dawn in luxury living awakens. Solana Lifestyle and Residences is Uganda's newest, most prestigious and award-winning lifestyle destination, an address for those who dream differently. At Solana, you're close enough to the hustle of the city, but far enough to come home to a sanctuary of smart living. Join a community of like-minded individuals where everything is taken care of and safety and security come standard, where each community has a clubhouse, play area, pool, and other incredible features. Let an oasis of calm greet you at the end of each day with manicured gardens, pathways, parks, bicycle tracks, and so much more. Whether you're upscaling or settling down, buying a first home or investing,
Solana has it all. Uganda is now open to the world.
Imagine waking up to a dream where luxury meets tranquility. Welcome to Solana Lifestyle and Residences, a sanctuary of elegance where every detail is curated for your comfort. From impeccable security to serene garden pathways, Solana offers more than a home. It's a lifestyle. Now, your dream is within reach. Solana's exclusive New Year's sale is here. Buy your home today, starting from just $139,000 US. Solana Lifestyle and Residences, now ready for occupancy. Live, work, play, and shop the Solana way.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us yet again for our exciting webinar. Today we are speaking mindset, but we are speaking mindset with money. But before we head into the whole program about the webinar today, allow me to tell you about where we are today. We are at Solana still. Solana is built by NSSF to the public. They're beautiful houses. Today we are inside one of our apartments. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, very beautiful. Check out all NSSF social media platforms and our website, and you'll be able to see the prices and the amenities that Solana has to offer. This is the month of March. Yes, I know it's ending, but it's a month for the woman. When I was told I'm the one to do what I'm doing today, I reached out to my friend who is a poet, Irene Mutuzo, if you're watching, hello. And I requested her to write for me a poem about a woman. So this poem is specially dedicated to the woman watching this webinar. It's a bit long, but I'll try. Here, this is how it goes. She stands with grace, her spirit on fire, rooted in love, yet climbing higher. A mother, a leader, sharp in her mind. She walks with purpose. She lifts humankind. She stands in the home, bold-hearted and wise, teaching each corner to love-lit skies. With laughter as melody, vision as guide, she nurtures with power, with passion and pride. A teacher, a healer, the calm in the storm, She's more than tradition. She's breaking the norm. She stands in the boardroom, fierce with her flair. Her voice commands her presence rare. With dreams that soar and plans that shine, she draws her future line by line. Brick by brick, she builds with grace a wealth empire, her sacred space. She saves, she scales, she masters the art of money with meaning, of business with heart. Not just surviving, she's shining, the core, writing a legacy that echoes and roars. She rises with rhythm, with purpose and flair, turning bold visions into ventures rare. No longer waiting, she opens the door, owning her moment and so much more. She spreads her wings, a butterfly bright, cracking the ceiling with radiant light. A phoenix in motion, she dares to explore limitlessly, fearlessly, and ready for more. That was for the woman on the call today. So I head back to our financial literacy program. The webinar is about mindsets, about wealth, and we do speak about money. We usually talk about money at NSSF because we are trying to get people to understand money. We have three major objectives. Objective number one is to make sure that our members actually understand the options that are around them, options to invest in, options to utilize their money and grow their money. We also have a second objective to make sure that we work and try and change the statistics that were found in 2018 when we realized that our members come and claim that money and they actually use it up within 2 years. We have another objective to build a financially empowered membership, and we took it a notch higher. We are not just building the NSSF membership to be financially empowered. We are trying to build the entire world. That's why we use platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching us from. We are there because we want everyone to understand how to utilize money. So today I have a little presentation. Shadrach, give me a thumbs up if it's up. Okay, so wealth starts in the mind, not in the bank. Every time that you think about money and you think about what others have, you think about the problems that you have, you think about what was lost the other day, you think about how the banks are charging you, you think about how the taxes are being taken off your money, you're missing the point. Wealth starts in the mind. So try to build your mind before you even think about the money. And how do you build your mind? We can go to slide 2. So when I was reading around about mindset, I realized there's something that everyone commonly talks about. There are two mindsets. There's a fixed and a growth mindset. I'm sure most of the people listening to us today, you have heard this countless times in different dimensions and in different spheres. But it is happening again. And this time I'm bringing it in the aspect of money. So the person with a fixed mindset, you say, this is who I am, and that's it. You stop at that. But the person with a growth mindset says, this is who I am for now, and this is who I want to become. They expand their thinking. They think beyond their limitations, and they think of the person they want to become. How do they want to look like? What do they want to achieve? And that's where they center their focus. Number 2, a fixed mindset person sees problems and challenges and their life stops. While a growth-minded person sees challenges and problems, yes, but in there they see opportunities and they see a chance to change. They see a chance to innovate. They see a chance to do things differently. They see a chance to grow themselves. They see a chance to make more money out of it. That's why in COVID, some people made money, some people didn't. Some people grew their businesses, some people didn't. Some people wrote books, some people didn't. Webinars started, Zoom became a thing, but some people didn't do anything. It all starts in the mind. Then there is something I found the fleas jar in a jar analogy. It says when you get fleas and put them in a jar and tie it tightly, they'll try to escape. They'll fly and hit the ceiling, which is the cover. They'll try again, they'll hit the ceiling, which is the cover, and before you know it, they give up. When they give up, even if you open that jar, they will never dare to fly higher to get out of that jar. And that's a fixed mindseted person. When you are faced with challenges, you do not think of how you get out. So if you have money challenges, if you have money problems, if you look at the money that you have and it's not enough, try to think harder. Try to do things a bit differently. Don't be a flea in a jar. Don't be a part of that statistic. Dream big, fly higher. Don't let limitations be your horizon. Escape it and do better. We can go to slide number 2. I put a few things that can help you to change your mindset. Point number 1, shift your focus from limitations and rise to the opportunities. We all have money problems, we all have limitations, but the thing that sets us apart, the thing that makes you look at that billionaire, the thing that makes you look at your uncle that has made money, the thing that makes you look at my panelists, the thing that makes you look at anyone else that is better than you is the fact that they overcame limitations and they looked a bit different. Move from consuming to growing wealth. Yes, I'll talk about savings again. Everyone has talked about savings. We have had savings from childhood, from adulthood and all. It starts to be boring, but it is not going to go away. It's an antidote to getting there. Some are lucky, they'll get a drop one day, they'll bang a deal one day, but most of us are not that lucky. What we have is what we are earning. So how are you using what you're earning? How are you building your mindset around what you're earning? And stop saying it's little, and start to see it as an opportunity to get you where you want to go. We have to also leave our financial fears and replace them with education and action. Today, you're online with us to learn. Thank you very much. That's a bold step. But after you have learned, please go and act. Go and try something. Go and do something. Don't just leave this good webinar in being a good webinar. Don't meet me and say, Anna, you guys are doing a good job, and yet you're doing nothing. Yes, I like to hear the good job we are doing. Thank you very much. But I would also like to come one day, randomly pick through one of our Zoom webinar lists, attendance. I will call you up and we say, come and give your testimony, and you're willing and ready and excited to do just that. And finally, wealth is built daily through mindset and action. That's on the last slide, Shadrach. Start small, stay consistent, and focus on the long term to create lasting financial success. But here at Financial Literacy, we say action changes things. Before I hand over to our speaker, to our moderator today, I saw a video by Vusi Twembekwayo, and he was talking about mindsets, and he gave an example of how the Asians are doing it and how the great-grandfather starts with probably a small shop, and then the kid takes over the small shop and adds a grocery store, and then the grocery store grows into a hardware store by the third generation and all that and all that. And then he said, we as quote-unquote black people, we have to change our mindsets. He said, you're not going to get the Range Rover tomorrow. You're not going to get that dream house tomorrow. You might not even be able to purchase Solana tomorrow. But if we change how we think about things, start small, be consistent with whatever we choose to do with our money, we will surely get there, because everyone has a starting point. Today, me and you have a starting point with our salaries, if you're in business, with your business, but how are you looking at it, and how is your mindset to achieve the very best out of it? So, that's what I had prepared to kickstart us off today. I am very excited about this particular webinar. I'm excited mostly because I'm a woman, and little by little, women are growing, women are pushing, women are shattering the glass ceilings, and that's very exciting. But we didn't want to make it all feminine. We had a gentleman, because we have to live with the gentlemen. We should not leave them so far behind, the boy child. And we have Mr. Rudende Moses. I'm particularly excited to have him today. I love listening to him on radio, so I'm one of those big fans, and I'm excited to be hosting you, I will say, and I'm eager to hear how you're going to deliver. And yes, thank you, and I hand you the webinar. Thank you.
Is what aligns your mindset and fosters you on the path to growing wealth long term. It's key to that is the power of planning, the power of structural living, because ultimately that will help you build that mindset on this journey. You said your work speaks for itself, and that is very, very true, as does the work of our panelists. So please allow me to introduce them today. It would be remiss of me to do it off-head, so please allow me to read. I'll start with Honorable first, because age does have its privileges. Honorable Victoria Sechitoleko, a distinguished Ugandan figure, known for her contributions in politics, diplomacy, and community development. Served as our Minister of Agriculture, where she played a pivotal role in shaping the country's agricultural policies. Now, following this ministerial tenure, Honorable Sechitoleko represented the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in various capacities, including postings in Ethiopia, China, Mongolia, and South Korea. Beyond her diplomatic engagements, Honorable Sechitoleko has been actively involved in initiatives that are aimed at empowering women and promoting agribusiness. Agriculture is the backbone of Uganda, and I see that it's very close to your heart. As Vice Chair of the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, she has emphasized the importance of supporting women's ventures and fostering collaborations between different sectors. After all, they say, educate a woman, educate a nation. Foster a woman, foster a nation. In addition to her advocacy for women's economic empowerment, she has championed the integration of creative and agricultural sectors. Her dedication to community development is further exemplified by her establishment of the Uganda Community Cultural Center, operating as the Speakers Forum, and her multifaceted career reflects a steadfast commitment to Uganda's socio-economic development, with a particular focus on agriculture, women's empowerment, and fostering synergies between diverse sectors. Honorable Victoria Sechitoleko, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Right. Imi, Nachie Yune, a Ugandan entrepreneur and community builder dedicated to empowering women in business. In 2018, you founded Nkazipreneur, and depends on your accent, whether it's Swahili or Chiganda. But that's an enterprise support organization that focuses on fostering the growth of women entrepreneurs in Uganda. And you're looking to expand into the region. You assist women in formalizing their businesses, becoming investment ready, and thriving in both domestic and regional markets. Beyond that, she is an active community volunteer and bibliophile. Her commitment to building lives, businesses, and communities is evident because of her active engagement, where she shares insights and challenges women entrepreneurs to dream big. Her work is recognized in various publications, highlighting her role in supporting women-owned businesses and promoting economic growth within the region. And I'm Rudende. I would like to start with Honorable Sechitoleko. The first step to building anything is recognizing what you need to build that. And we have to deal with a lot of money myths in this country, money myths that hold you back. In your own experience, what was one thing about money that you learned you had to unlearn and relearn?
First of all, growing up, we had very little money in our home. So the first thing I learned was money is not plentiful. You want it, you really have to plan and work for it.
We grew up in a subsistence setting.
We grew up in a situation where you ate what you grew, you didn't grow it, you didn't eat it. You wanted a dress, you actually had to go to the garden, work through all those months, sell, get the money, go and buy what you want. But of course, life happens.
True.
While you are busy planning to buy a dress, the child falls sick. But in my view, the starting point is learning, staying in school, so that you learn how to learn. For me, that is basic. If anybody is ever thinking of going into business and by mistake you left school early, I suggest the first thing you do is go back there and at least get the basics. What do I mean by basics? I'm talking about simple things like 2 times 2, like, you are hiring a lorry, you are delivering sand, you should be able to calculate and know that this is the cost of the sand, this is the cost of the lorry, this is my profit.
So we can never avoid math.
Exactly. So whatever happens and whatever happened in your past, let it be in the past, go back to school, sort out the mathematics. 2, many young people are coming to Kampala to do business from all angles of Uganda. The second thing to do if you're in Kampala, learn the language. Because that is why I said stay in school in order to learn how to learn. Learn the language. First and foremost, learn the local language. But secondly, learn the local trade language. All that comes easy if you actually stayed enough years in school in order to learn how to learn. These days, all sorts of bad things are being said about the Uganda education. It's not your job. You are not the school. You are not the education officer, supervision of education. Your job is to learn what is there. And I've told you, all I want you to learn is to learn how to learn, to do the basic mathematics, the multiplication, the addition, and the division. Once you finish that, let the people minding the education system mind the system while you go to use what you have learned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Learn the people, learn the language, learn the culture, do the business.
Yeah.
Amy, you have an 8 to 5, but you also have your entrepreneurial job that you do. Are there any clashes in money mindset? Are there myths that you learned from your job on this, your formal, that you had to break on your entrepreneurial side?
Thank you. Absolutely. When I started working about 11 years ago, straight from university, I realized my salary wasn't enough for me.
Is it ever?
I grew up, just like Honorable has shared, I grew up in a home where money was scarce. My parents worked so hard, but there was never money. Money was always spent. And honestly, I don't think I learned the basics of managing money while I was young. But when I grew up and started exposing myself to spaces where money is discussed, I started thinking about this thing, money. Multiple streams of income, savings, investments. And I thought to myself, okay, I have a salary, these insurance companies are asking me to save, but how sure am I my savings will yield at a certain point? I did not appreciate that entire language of money. And then over time, exposure in community work, I kept asking myself, okay, what if I wake up one day and this job is not there? What will happen?
Knock on wood.
What will happen? And around the same time, we had a bit of shock in our department. They outsourced the department. They fired my neighbor on the right, left. I survived, but that was a wake-up call. I knew that I've survived today, but one day I will not survive. If that moment comes, what will I do? What will be my backup in case I woke up to no job? That's how I started thinking about creating other multiple streams of income. I tried a number of businesses. We all try a number of businesses.
You know, they say Uganda, they don't say. Uganda actually is the most entrepreneurial nation.
True.
My theory is we're entrepreneurial because we fail a lot, but we don't give up.
Never.
We'll try something else.
Never.
Nyanya failed, utungulu. Utungulu, green pepper, vanilla, shoes.
Sand.
Somewhere, somehow, we keep going.
You just keep going. But also, I keep speaking to people. I ask them, what do they want to do? So before I started Mukazipreneur, I kept thinking to myself, I love to serve, but how do I earn while serving? I love to add a skill to a woman, but how do I earn while benefiting a woman. That's how I thought about that entire idea of Mukazipreneur. So we need to start businesses that we really love to do, because entrepreneurship is hard. You will not earn immediately. It takes time to earn. But how do you fight and fight and fight until the point when you earn? How do you patiently build that business to a point where you start earning from it? That's the question.
That's a very good question. And we're going to probe that deeper. I want to come back to you, Honorable. Your generation was the first generation that was properly educated. So we were one removed from a purely agrarian society. What for you was the crystallization from scarcity mindset to wealth building mindset? And what do you feel we can take as practical steps and strategies that you may have encountered to make that change?
Okay. Like everybody may know by now, I'm a farmer's daughter, and I'm talking about a subsistence farmer daughter.
And Minister of Agriculture.
But I grew from being an ordinary farmer's daughter to going to Makerere and studying agriculture, and I did farm management and extension. For me, that is very important, because I think that is why I am where I am. Now, when you are a farmer's daughter growing up on subsistence existence, because really the word subsist means being able to eat today so that you can wake up tomorrow. That's how I grew up. Now, managing to go to Makerere, becoming the Minister of Agriculture, managing to go to Makerere and walking straight from Makerere to Uganda Development Bank. That's where I encountered money. This is a farmer's daughter grown up in scarcity, being put in charge of giving people money in order to develop their agriculture. I spent 13 years doing just that, and actually ask me any part of Uganda and I know what goes on there, and I know what can succeed and what can fail given the natural resources.
Teacher me.
Yeah.
Yumbe.
Which one?
Yumbe.
Yumbe, you have got the most beautiful forests at the moment, which you have not yet destroyed. If you don't follow the rest of Uganda and just keep them, even if you keep them for us to come and see, you make so much money, you will just be thanking your grandparents. Next question.
That one was free. If they want more, they have to come and see you privately.
So as I was saying, when you know what it is to be poor, one. Two, when you know what it is to work, when you become the officer in charge of agriculture, financing agricultural projects,
livelihoods.
You really know what you are talking about. And as a result of that job, I've got so many relatives all over Uganda. Basically, because during those days, there was no corruption. There was no way I would look you in the eye and say, in order to give you this money, you give me this. How? In fact, there are a few people who used to bring me gifts, like somebody gave me a cow like 5 years after being financed, and I told him I'm not allowed. He took that cow to my father's place because he knew where it was.
Somehow you were taking the gift.
He said, this is a gift. You gave me the money, I got all this money, you have to share. So during those days, like I said, I was in charge of money. So having grown up in poverty, then being in charge of money, when we talk about, like when she talks about Mukazipreneur, I feel for them. And the first thing I feel is Mukazipreneur has given these people a channel through which they are no longer solo. In Uganda, you start anything, even if you are going to look after chicken. Let's say you are my aunt, you have never had anything. Then I come and you have 10 chicken. Instead of congratulating you and saying, oh my God, this is a good start, I'm glad you are doing this. In fact, I'm going to tell my friends who use this road to always stop and buy your chicken. I will say, will you really manage? I mean, why are you so negative? But once again, if you went to school and you learned how to learn, one of the things you learn just by being around children is that not everybody is always on your team. In fact, there are always more than one team. So the moment you accept that, and of course the moment you accept that there are people who are always on your team, people like your parents, people like some friends, some young friends are on your team, just get on with it.
So one of the habits would be resilience.
Resilience and confidence. That is why I'm saying I want you to know that not always everybody is on your team. Second, quite a number of people not understand what you are doing. So when you are looking for advisors, Don't go and look for the failure of the village and start sharing your project. They don't know it, they have never done it. Because even simple things like when somebody was going to marry, a certain Muganda man was going to marry a Msoga girl, his elder brother asked him, but will you manage a Msoga? He has never married one.
Stereotypes.
So why? Exactly. So go to school, learn how to learn, be confident and be resilient. In Uganda, like right now, this is the month of March. The month of January and February were so hot and so dry that all the farmers were practically in tears. Now, the coffee farmers who because with coffee, the moment it rains, it is back to green. I've got a friend who says he spends all his time in the garden just looking at his coffee. So you have to be prepared for those eventualities, now and then drought, then when it rains, enjoy it. Like you said, life is for enjoying.
True. I feel like we need to probe that confidence a bit more.
No problem.
Because a lot of people feel uncertain when it comes to managing money. Are there practical steps that you can give us on how to build confidence when it comes to managing money matters?
The first thing I have to say is people have to learn to say no.
Very important.
Yeah, because you grow up, you know, when you grow up and you don't have money, and you really become an adult when you are still poor, you count your money at all times. You don't get it and start throwing it around. So you don't have to apologize. That is your money. That is one. Two, plan for it and stick to your plan. Because like Jesus himself said, the poor are always with us. I'm sorry, the sick will always be there and people will always die. Normally, in most homes, when you are the one with the money, you are not necessarily the head of the clan. So when there is a death, you don't have to take it upon yourself to be down to bear everything. After all, like somebody said recently, with or without money, you get buried, and your job is done. So have a plan, be intentional, so that when, for example, you are budgeting for your year, you know that this money is for social activities. That is where the sick, the school fees contribution, and the dead and whatever are. So when and if there is an announcement, something has gone wrong and whatever, you know the account to go to. What happens if that account has run out? It has run out. Most of these people will not actually accept that then they didn't have money today. How? We saw him taking a beer yesterday. Really? So you plan, stick to your plan, but also implement your plan, because I love Ugandans. They quickly learn how people operate. If they know that, because for example, for me, if somebody is unwell and I see that they are really unwell, I'll give them my driver to take them to the hospital, and I'll tell them the doctor is already paid. So it is up to you to go and enjoy the service or not to enjoy. I stopped giving them money because sometimes, if not most times, this money would never get to the doctor. So you plan, but spend your money wisely. Stick to your plan. Yeah.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Imi, you said something very, very interesting when you were talking to us. Somebody on the left, they went. Somebody on the right, they went. So there you are on Bunkenke thinking, am I next? So now you're stuck in survival mode.
Yeah.
And for somebody who is stuck in survival mode, what can they do to break that mindset and shift towards the mindset of, you know what, let me get prepared for when that time eventually comes and create a buffer for it? And that is true for many young people.
Absolutely.
And entrepreneurs as well.
To be honest, we've seen what has happened with USAID.
Nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming.
And yet
we've
here we are.
seen with Umeme, we've seen with UNRWA, we have a number of people that have lost jobs, that are seated at home. I think it's time for us to start thinking widely and expanding our mindset. These things are going to continue to happen. COVID hit. There are people who are still jobless since COVID hit.
By the way, officially it's 5 years since the first lockdown was announced.
Imagine. Yeah.
5 whole years. That's a long time.
The
And
world
people
was
are jobless.
disrupted. Yes, the world was disrupted. All the time we're having disruption. Yesterday, ChatGPT put a new update for AI. I think you've seen it.
Yes, the
It's-
Studio Ghibli.
Absolutely.
Image generation.
I watched a video yesterday, and the guy said there is no need for you to learn to code now because AI is going to do the coding. And he kept saying you need to learn to think better, to communicate better, to network better. That's the world we are living in. We need to start thinking about this abundance mindset. How do we expose ourselves to spaces where we can learn? I think exposing myself to spaces that challenge me early helped me think outside the box. My father supported me to join associations that exposed me to people that could inspire me.
Is a
to
professional
be-
associations? Eh?
Yes,
Okay.
to be a better individual. I started asking myself questions. What do I want to do in the next 10 years? Which path do I want to take on this journey of life? I started understanding my purpose on earth. I started discovering who I am now and what habits I need to build to be a better individual in this life. To be honest, she talked about how life is short and we need to be intentional about how we spend our lives every single day.
That's true.
There are people who have made it from poverty to riches. They've worked hard. I started looking at biographies of people. I started looking out for people like Honorable. I started exposing myself to spaces where they are. I kept thinking, what special things do they do? How do they eat? How do they speak? What do they do on a daily basis? How can I emulate the things they do? How can I mimic the things they do so that I can be a better person? I think for me, I've noticed that if you are intentional about creating the life you want to live, it comes to you. If you continuously tell yourself that in 5 years' time, I want to have at least 3 multiple streams of income, then you can do that. If you set your goals and be intentional about achieving them, then you can do it. Yes. So I think it's about intentionally exposing yourself to such spaces.
I want to come back to you on that one, but first I want to ask Honorable Mr. Chitoleko. She's spoken about leveraging networks, professional and personal. She leveraged upwards. Are there instances where you had to leverage your own networks on your journey to building?
Yes, but it was not my journey to building my wealth. It was my journey to building Uganda wealth. So when I became deputy minister, the whole world was for agriculture. The whole world was really excited about this deputy minister of agriculture because there were not many women ministers. So I also said, no problem, I'll take advantage of whatever you bring. The first person to come, because I think it was like 3 months into my appointment, and the executive director of UNFPA, United Nations Family Planning or whatever, came to Uganda. And somehow I knew she was coming because she had asked her representative in Uganda to make sure we meet. And having been a banker, for us bankers, we don't do things for free. So I am like, what do I get out of this woman? That's when I decided I'm going to get cows from her. By then, I was Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Forestry. Livestock was somewhere else, but I wanted cows. Then too, the UNFPA is about family planning for people, not for cattle. But having been a project officer in UDB, I go and tell the planning officer in the Ministry of Agriculture that this person is coming. Let us write a project and ask her to give us 150 cows so that we can start a heifer project. The officer just didn't understand what I was talking about. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. 3 days before the woman arrives and there's nothing. So I went and burnt the midnight candle myself and wrote this project. During those days, projects would be handwritten before you give them to the secretary to type. By the time I was done, there was no time for the secretary to type. So the executive director, Madam Nafis Sadiq, arrives, and I give her my handwritten project. But I knew what I was talking about, so I explained how it works. I told her, the only way these women can talk to us is if they can first solve their poverty problem. Because once they are not poor, we can then sit down and say, meanwhile, do you really think you need more children? Because previously she could be thinking, because you see she has no food, that is why you don't want her to have children. So we talked to Sadiq, And then in my office, she approved the project. The director in Uganda was there, was told, implement. Within the first year, we got 120 cows.
Wow.
If you ever heard of a heifer project, which was in Entebbe, that is how it came.
Yes.
So you talk about leveraging networks. That is how high my networks are, and that is how high I aimed to leverage.
Wow. Wow. But you did say something else there, talking about you look at women and women are told, but why are you having children if you know? But we live in multiple cultures where women talking about money is taboo, where what is put on the table is what you take. And so from the onset, your negotiation skills are limited. What taboos and how can we break them in your experience before I come to Imi?
Since we are doing this interview in Doha, and I've told you the heifer project was in Entebbe,
Just round the corner.
I will stick to Entebbe.
Yes.
When the Ministry of Agriculture was going to give out these cows, we invited a group of about 150 women from around Entebbe, and we trained them as to how they were going to manage these cows. Some women dropped off the very first day, because the question they would ask is, when this cow comes, is it my cow or is it the husband's cow? And we are like, no, these are women's cows. The only difference is if you divorce, you don't go with it, because the cow has to stay in Entebbe. So these women are like, my husband cannot accept that. So they didn't come back.
Too many questions. Where did you get the cow? Who gave it to you?
And exactly why you? So I thought you didn't get, what did you do and who did you see and so on and so forth. So that in itself told me that this business of mindset. Then there were other women, like I'll use a name which, there's a woman called Mrs. Roa, because for me she's my best example. Mrs. Roa had children, one of whom is actually Bali Mwezo, the MP for Nakawa.
Nakawa, yes.
And the Tsebwana of Bosiro, the Kabaka's government, all those were the children. So she had these children, and every single time, whenever they were sending children home for school fees, they were the first ones out. Now, she was one of those who got a cow. Gets very excited about a cow, and by the time because during those days things were done so well, by the time these cows arrived, the cow would arrive like today, tomorrow, you have the heifer, and you are milking. So the very first term, Mrs. Ruboa was the first one to pay her school fees.
In full.
In full. She told me she went and paid the school fees, then took a 5-liter jerrycan of milk to the basa. Said, she really walked in confidently. From now on, no more debts and whatever. And this milk is for you. It is for free. Thank you for putting up with me. For me, it is that type of empowerment.
Yes.
Because after that, like the women in Entebbe would tell me, when there is a death, you know how women, when you go there and there is a funeral, the women normally sit on the ground and they do all the work. Oh, the women who got the cows were the ones bringing the milk for breakfast. So they would send somebody to bring the milk for breakfast. Eventually, when at about 11 o'clock, then the Mugaga, the rich woman of the village, comes to say hello. They would be the ones to sit on the chairs. Given this business of mindset change and wealth and whatever is mostly in the head, they felt so rich that there was no way they were going to sit on the floor, and neither were they going to go to the kitchen to cook the food, because they are contributing the milk.
Exactly.
So for me, I love the Mukazi Purunwa organization, because I don't like it when people get brown envelopes. That is so flippant. It is so short-lived. So when these women got this, until today, some of those women still have those cows. We are talking about 1990 to now.
35 years.
35 years. The cows are still there. Of course, most of them were in, I'll call them shacks. They are now in double-storied houses.
Wow.
And they did it themselves. So mindset, they were ready to work. Like I told you, some dropped off because of the Mwami. And by that time, like 2 years into the program, the women were the ones putting money on the kameza for the men.
How the tables turn.
Yes.
You work with Mukazipreneur, and I don't know if you've had instances where you've had to break traditions and taboos that have been
Yes.
passed down.
Yes. So Honorable talked about the cow thing and the bami. So when we started training women, we realized that pushback, husbands, when they come to attend the classes, then the husbands are telling them, where are you, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of pushbacks on that. So we decided to start inviting the men to the trainings as well.
To see it practically. Yeah?
Yes. If you come to our hub space and your documentation, your registration shows your husband is a shareholder in the business, we invite him as well to attend the trainings. We realized when we invite them and they attend the classes, they appreciate the process. They also get to understand that the woman needs to learn to do certain things. They need to be empowered enough to run the business so that it can be successful. When they get into the room, we also make them understand that women are better entrepreneurs than men.
No
That
argument
a
from
woman,
me, please.
yes.
No argument from me.
Present company exempted.
That a woman will grow a business and in turn the family will grow.
Yes.
The woman will pay fees for the children diligently.
Yes.
Okay, so this bringing men into the room has actually supported our women entrepreneurs better. And going forward, we make it a point, we instruct the women to bring their husbands. However busy they are, they need to at least attend the sessions so that we can break those continuous cultural barriers and the things that come in, the ego, the fighting, it still has a long way to go, but at least we are trying to check those small bits. And I think we're on the journey. It will get better with time.
So the husbands understand that it's not just about her being self-sufficient, but the fact that she can support me afterwards. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. If I have my money, you have your money. My money is your money. Okay, some women say his money is my money, and my money is But if you have a household with two incomes, that's a better household. Poverty goes down, fights go, domestic violence goes down. There is a lot that gets better with two-income households.
Yes. Yes. There's something that Honorable said at the start, and you spoke about planning for your money and setting aside budgets, entertainment budget, this is my social budget, and the like, and you stick to that budget. But the reality is that a lot of the financial decisions we make in Uganda are driven by emotion. So whether it's fear, whether it's anticipation, whether it's shame. So how can we break that mindset and make spending and building money more about strategy as opposed to impulse? This thing of, I saw him yesterday, of course he'll have money for me. And even if your budget has been expended, you're thinking, they will say, the Chitole course didn't give us money. Let me give them, let me take from what I had already put aside to help these people.
You know, the beauty of the word they is that normally there is no name.
Society.
Exactly. So once there is no name, there is no face. For me, that does not make me feel guilty. That is number one. Number
write
two.
that down.
Number two, like I said, you set your system. Let's say if people know that, okay, so and so, when you tell her about school fees, she will ask, how many children do you have? And you have 5. How old is your wife? She's 35. And what is she doing now? She's pregnant. She will not pay school fees for you. Yeah, because you seem to be sick. You cannot afford school fees for the 5, but the wife is pregnant. Then, of course, I ask, this is a real case, I ask, so what are you doing about it? He decides that he himself will go for a vasectomy, and he actually did. I picked up all the children and paid for them. And of course, word spreads. Once they know that you have a cutoff point, it is interesting how they really adapt. So once God has anointed you to be the leader in that family with money, also be the leader in your mind. Don't go saying, oh no, somebody comes and tells you the grandmother of my mother's whatever Sega has died. What have you got to do with that? Those are the few times when you say, I'm not really doing fine, because she is not in your budget.
And we are related by rumor.
I like that. We are related by rumor. The other thing, don't put your money where you can reach it at all times. You know, I tell people about this mobile money thing. For me, I would never ever have more than $1 million on my phone. In fact, for the longest time, I was not on mobile money because I did not want to part with my money. Now, one other excuse I have, I don't send money from Airtel to MTN because one time, really, I lost some 250,000. So you'd call me and you tell me I send on MTN, and I'm like, no, I don't.
I don't send.
So all those are tricks for me not to spend my money. But even these bank accounts, I don't keep lots of money on bank accounts. So if I keep money in real estate, for example, I'm not going to sell my house in order to pay for your medicine.
Besides, in any case, how much would you have to liquidate? You can't just remove a window and say savings.
Exactly. So don't keep too much liquid cash. Don't make it too easy to dispense with money because you know how difficult it is to get it. And especially if you are a bit older, stick on to your money. When we were starting, then they told you it is good to have this money so that you can deploy it. When and if you spend it mostly in social ventures, which are consumption, which will never bring back anything. As I have said before, you are old. We visit you because you have something.
Yes.
The moment we know you are no longer liquid, you have nothing to add.
You move on like Nzige.
We just ghost you.
We forget you.
Yeah.
Amy,
People only want to be associated with you when you're doing well.
That is true. That's human nature. Let's just talk it down to human nature. But there's a generation gap here that I want to point out. Her pressures and her emotional triggers for her generation are far different from yours.
Yeah.
Because yours are more goods of ostentation, trying to keep up with everybody else.
Yes.
How do you teach your women to recognize those triggers? And just because somebody bought a new dress, you don't have to get a new dress. They got a new phone. Your phone is okay.
Yeah.
How do you teach them to recognize those and stay on the path? Because these emotional triggers, they're quite powerful.
Social media and comparison is terrible. It's messing a lot of relationships, family, mental health, and all that. We preach to the women about these things. We preach change, but it also takes an individual to accept that they need to change, to accept that I will not impulsively buy whatever I need to buy. I will not spread my money everywhere. We have financial literacy classes all the time with NSSF, with our partnership bank, KCB Bank. We try to teach these things to the women, and we try to give them certain avenues that can train them. For example, we have an in-house investment club. We have Jubilee coming in to talk about the savings and all that. But it takes time for the women to appreciate these things. But I also noticed some of them jump onto those things because other women are doing it. We've noticed that the power of community influences a number of women to take up certain habits. So most of them will take on insurance, say policies, because they've seen their friends taking on the policies.
For their businesses?
Also, yes.
Okay.
But also they've seen the success stories of those that have got maybe their money after 5 years or 10 years. So this community approach is key. I think we need to bring back this community aspect, the power of association, maybe in our churches, in our village level, yes, because it influences the way women pick up the habits.
Yeah. And you speak about something very important. There's an article I read this week by Melvin Chiimba. We've lost the third space. And now it's just the bars. But those community mobilization centers, so be it your village, be it your church, be it your school, PTA associations are not there anymore, and yet that was a great launch pad for parents to coalesce and teach each other.
I think at the end of last year, our leader at church mobilized us to construct a building along Tinda. So at first, the pickup was low. And when they noticed the building was halfway about to get to the top, everyone came in, everyone wanted to sow a seed. It made me realize that people want to jump on board when things are doing well.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, that is one. But two, in every situation, we need a leader.
That's true.
True.
Yeah. Who will show the way? The lone
Yeah.
voice in the desert.
Yeah.
True. We need leaders.
Yeah.
So the community aspect is key. Honorable talked about some of the habits she has picked up along the way. And I remembered I stopped pledging at wedding.
Yeah.
I stopped.
I don't pledge.
I don't pledge anymore because I realized it was impacting my finances.
It really is.
I had to create boundaries.
Yeah.
If you call me to lend you money, I will not lend you. I will think through. And I can only lend you what I can lose.
That's a truism in
Because
life.
I need to lend you to keep in mind that you may not be able to pay me back.
But I won't feel the pinch too hard.
Exactly. So I've learned to create boundaries when it comes to my money. There is black tax, but I can only
Black tax,
give
talk on it.
what is in my budget. If that month I haven't planned to give out a certain amount of money, I will not. And I will stick to my word. That is me. In fact, my friends, the people I'm surrounded with, they know that you want to borrow money from Amy. Try. Because I am intentional and I set my boundaries clearly when it comes to my money. It's my money. I work hard for it. I plan for it. And I know what I need to use my money for.
You're looking forward. But looking back, money is never a straight path.
Exactly.
Unexpected shocks, loss of job. Who saw COVID coming? Who saw USA leaving? How have you seen, from your experience, the best way to bounce back and not lose momentum on your own personal journey to building wealth?
Can I talk about the shocks?
Please.
I told you about the cattle in Entebbe.
Yes.
But of course, those women were human, so they had human problems. I remember there was one woman who was pregnant at that time, and getting a cow all of a sudden is a big thing, a big change and whatever.
It's quite
she was
labor intensive.
Yeah, she was quite unwell and ended up going into hospital, and there was nobody to look after the cow at home. So I got a phone call from the doctor saying, Victoria, please do whatever it takes not to take away the cow. If you take away the cow, we shall lose the baby, we shall lose the woman. So of course, as soon as I got off the phone, I went and spoke to the officer in charge, and she told me, we have temporarily removed the cow and put it somewhere so that when she's back, she can have it back. So when you talk about the shocks, those shocks come, but that is why I'm happy about our organization and a few others. They are like the backup, therefore, to catch this woman, because women, we have so many issues.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and talk about the shocks. That was the shock I saw.
The shocks, they're there. But
The shocks will always be there. When we were starting the webinar, we talked about resilience. It will not be a perfect world, and I think we all get shocks in our lives, in all areas of our lives.
that's true.
Some get distracted in alcohol, but the following day you have a hangover, so that's not a permanent solution. Some
Medical emergencies.
you know,
It
so,
happens.
So
I mean,
there are so many shocks,
There's
but
that popular saying in Uganda, sorry, you're one medical emergency away from poverty.
Exactly.
and
It's a
washing
reality that we live in.
a car wash.
The car washes, you've seen them, car washes. We put together a quick marathon.
It is honestly, it's disturbing. It's a world of shocks. But I think we have a chance. We have the ability to plan, to try to plan, but to also surround ourselves with the community that can support us in case those shocks come. Okay, I think we've been given the ability to try to plan. We have policies, we have savings, we have family, we have people that can support us, but also the resilience to keep fighting to come up with those solutions in case those issues happened at a certain point.
But there are some shocks which completely throw you off balance. One of them is when you are feeling a bit unwell, just a little bit unwell. You go to hospital and you are told that word which starts with C.
See,
Chaos.
Chaos reigns that day.
yeah.
The one thing I've been telling my friends, because I'm lucky I'm from Butambala and people from Butambala are not poor, But I keep telling them you are temporarily rich for as long as you have not planned for eventualities.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that you have got, you know, a building worth $1 billion, but you don't have insurance, health insurance. How? So whenever I talk about this health insurance, people will tell you that in some facilities are not available in Uganda. And I'm like, the more reason you should have insurance, because there is international insurance. With international insurance, they will even evacuate you. They will give you the ticket, they'll give you a ticket for the person to accompany you, and you go wherever you want to go in order to be treated. Now, surrounding yourself with people who know. Here you are with the billions of money, but you don't have a friend who can sit down with you and tell you, if you want to get international insurance, this is what you do, and this is what you are entitled to. And you remember at the beginning I said, stay in school and learn how most people who have learned how to make friends will actually be knocking at your door. And you, you don't know me, but I heard you talk about this. Exactly how do I go about it? So these big shocks are there. How do you deal with them? That is when the networking comes, the planning and the networking. Because if, let's say, you are sick, really sick, you need lots and lots of money, but you are insured with these international insurances, you won't even have to know. They will tell you to pay like 15% of the total bill. So if that bill is $100,000, we shall not see a flyer asking for to support this one. And you are like, this is the guy who has been buying beer for everybody. This is the guy who has, right now it is time of iftar, the one who has been serving iftar all over the how come he's now. So big shocks, how do you manage them? Plan for them. Use your networks to make sure that you have got your somebody to catch you, whether it is insurance or, for example, quite a number of people have got money in buildings, and we have tenants. Some tenants are really not good at paying. You practically have to fight them before you get the money. Now, between that fighting and your health, there may be a gap. What do you do? That is when I tell people, if you hear of saving schemes like NSSF, I'm really happy that NSSF now can cater for older people, because we are the ones who need you. Like I said, don't put your money where it is too accessible. Put your money in the NSSF saving and plan. I told somebody, put it there, make one of your children one of the signatories. He looked at me with doubtful eyes, and I'm like, that money will eventually go to them anyway.
Yes.
So you may as well make them signatories. So plan and make sure that your plan works. That is why I'm saying, if you put money in NSSF, get somebody else who can sign, so that if, let's say, you are abroad, you can always say, go sign for this money, go do this. That is, for me, that is what I call wealth, not somebody who has got $1 million in his pocket or on his mobile money.
There's something that she said that I want us to probe, but before I do that, please go.
Yes, so this is a bit high end. There is a guy I actively follow on X. He has mobilized funds from outside countries to construct a hospital here. So he has been intentional about, Andy, yes. He has been, thank you. He has been intentional about getting the right machines. He's still constructing and all that. When he got sick, where did he go? To that hospital. He went to that hospital.
His insurance policy.
His insurance policy was in that hospital.
You see?
And he posted on X, but many people did not get the joke. When he got a problem, he had a solution. And he's not getting the solution for only himself, but also the people surrounding the area. So some of us, you have a health issue and you don't know where to go. You might run to a health center and it will not give you
full. We lost a general recently because he was sick in Arua and they had to fly him to Mulago. Really, in quite a number of cases, when you are sick, you are not allowed to fly. So go ahead with that.
So some of these shocks, of course, and is a bit high end, but we need to plan. While we are planning, let's also plan for other people. Let's not take the money to ourselves and, you know, we eat. What if that shock of health comes? What will happen? Will you be in the one Uganda, one suffer category?
I mean, at one point you can't avoid this. But there's something that Honorable said, and I feel like we can use that to bounce into what I want to probe. The man has buildings worth billions, but no policy.
Yeah.
And it's a reality. Many entrepreneurs pour everything into their business.
Yeah.
And suddenly you have no personal money. At Mkazipreneur, how do you teach them to strike the balance between building your business, yes, but also focusing on your own personal wealth? Because they're not mutually exclusive. They can work together.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough when it comes to women entrepreneurship. There are a lot of issues. Number one, we try to tell the women to separate their accounts. Separate business and personal account. Be intentional about knowing your money. This is business money, this is personal money. But also we're trying to encourage them to pay themselves. So what happens, most women entrepreneurs, they don't have salaries. They just pick from whatever. I've sold 10K today, I pick the 10K and probably put it back the following day, reinvest it. So we are trying to come up, teach them certain systems that they need to pick up along the way. And separate the business money from the personal money.
Yes.
Pay yourself at the end of the month, even if it's something small, pay yourself. Appreciate the power of having a clear statement, because at some point when you need a loan, they will need to look at the history of your money.
Yes.
So if you don't have this evidence of the history of the business money,
a paper trail.
Exactly. So there's no evidence that you're running any business. We are trying to teach them the systems. We are really trying our best. And also the capacity building programs that we have in place need some of those requirements. We've now reached that point where we are a bit strict. We want to get into the NSSF Innovator program to unlock $20,000 at the end. Your books have to be in order.
First of all, the books have to be there. And I will tell you, as an outsider, they are complaining that there's too much teaching.
You can never have too much knowledge.
Initially realized we had that
Let's explain. For the people in Nelson, let's explain to them. Overskilled community. Too much theory, not enough practical.
Practical. We had to change things a little bit. We've tried to infuse and put in some practical lessons here and there, but also not do a lot of teaching without any results at the end. So let's teach you. At the end, let's unlock $1,000. Let's teach you. At the end, let's support it. At the end, let's support it in market products in Nairobi, and Zambia, in Uganda. So we are trying to do not only teaching, but also practical lessons to the business.
It's a reality that within that business, so you advertise, so they want to outline from the business, to preach from business, look after the child, protect the child. How then do you deal with the death in that instance? Because the man is the man is the man is the man.
Separate the money from the business, pay yourself. Work hard enough, pay yourself. Little by little, you appreciate the bit of earning a salary as a businesswoman.
And if you are a businesswoman, a real businesswoman, you should be able to afford basic insurance. I really insist on separating my social responsibility from my business. Now, if you have insurance for you as a businesswoman, for your family, at least you will take care of these small ones. And normally it's the small ones which when you go into the big ones.
Actually, I was speaking to someone from Insurance Regulatory. So we've done well in educating insurance.
But then the woman in informal business, they don't appreciate insurance. They don't even know.
They don't see the need.
They don't see the need. They don't even know how it works. So I was trying to speak to her. How do we come up with policies that the woman at the bottom can appreciate and make use of? How do we make this mobile money saving thing also for insurance? You know, I think that's a niche that someone needs to disrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very
It's
important.
a niche that
That's
someone
very
needs to
important.
disrupt
Yeah.
because the bottom woman doesn't have insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about retirement for a second because this is an NSSF webinar.
Yeah.
Hindsight is 2020. So it's easy for you to speak from where you are right now.
Yeah.
But looking back, how did you stay focused and not lose sight of the fact that I need to put this aside and it is going to help me when I get there?
First of all, really, Victoria Sectorial is not a good example of an Ugandan woman.
Hey, you are.
Basically, because I was married to one of the angels in Uganda. My husband used to work with Bank of Uganda, and he took care of everything.
Wow.
Even setting up our retirement plans. Let us do this real estate. Let us do an office for you, and so on. But not everybody is in position to do that. So I'm going to speak generally, not about me. The most difficult thing when you retire is there is a song in Lusoga which says, being single hurts most in the evenings and in the mornings. Now, retirement is very difficult, mostly in the mornings and in the evenings. Why? You have to have a reason to wake up. What is interesting is that when you go to bed and you do not have a program for tomorrow, there will be no sleep. It is only when you have to wake up and dash to Lubowa that the sleep is like, oh, I'm here in plenty. So, and once you don't sleep well, the whole day is more or less wasted. So retirement. Many people have been told when you're planning for retirement, plan for finances, plan, you know, when you have an official job like my sister here, when you retire, they give you that rocking chair. When you sit in that rocking chair, like 10 minutes, you are already tired of it, you even want to throw it out. So, when planning for retirement, plan for the total person. We are talking about the social. I want to take advantage of this webinar to request everybody never to forget those poor, you know, those friends of yours who used to know you when you are still poor, young and innocent. Because they are real. You know, you become head of NSSF and you don't even stop at the village. You know, I have my saying when I go into the different villages where I belong, like my grandmother's village, my husband's village. I'm like, I've got to put some money in their economy. So I'll stop and tell somebody, are these your purpose? Yes. I'm going to buy them. Oh, no, you take them for free. I'm like, no, I'm not here to make you poor. The other day, for the first time in my life, I went to visit my auntie and found her neighbor was selling tomatoes. She had a table, she put a white cloth, I don't know why, and she was selling tomatoes and onions. So I looked at the stock. I mean, it was so little, it looked like what would be equivalent of 10,000. So I asked her, how much is this? We have got tomatoes for 100, 200, and 300. And I'm like, what do you mean? These small ones, you buy one, you get one, you pay 100. So I said, count all the tomatoes and I'll buy them. Really, this was so interesting. So she counts the tomatoes. I'm talking to the villagers. Once she's done, she tells me the money, and I give her with a tip of 2,000. It was worth about 25,000. So I paid. So she looks at me, this is real, and says, this was like 10 o'clock. She says, what shall I be selling now?
This is 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. So she's just lost. That
the plan for the day was sell the tomatoes. After that, she hadn't thought that far.
So I said, learn to plan. I don't want to disrupt your business. Now you are going to run back where you bought this from and bring more. Because especially during fasting time, people are buying.
Yes.
Yeah. So over to you.
I'm not yet retired.
You're not yet retired, but you do teach people that regardless of the unexpected challenges that life may throw at you, you need to keep your eye on the ball when it comes to long-term planning.
Absolutely.
What strategies do you give them to
Or are
stay
you going
focused?
to be shocked when somebody buys the stock?
So we definitely teach the women in our financial literacy programs with NSSF. We tell them about putting money aside for retirement. It's good that now NSSF has invited the women that are entrepreneurs to open accounts where they can save. We normally go to the markets, we go into the communities, we go up country. We tell them that now NSSF is open for you. you as an entrepreneur, you can put some savings aside. But we also give them testimonials of people that received their money, because some have this negativity that, my money, I will not get my money back. They need a voice to show them that, hey, I managed to get my money. I did not struggle. Hey, that process was easy. It was seamless. It was easy for me to get back my money. So we are trying to make them appreciate this process, take on the process, diligently save month to month, not give up along the way when things get tough. So it's about really appreciating and continuously teaching them. We don't get tired of teaching. However much I say we've overskilled them, but we need to keep telling them these things.
I mean, even software is updated every so often.
All the time, yes.
And even those tomato sellers will eventually retire.
This is true.
But, you know, when I talk to my greengrocer, I call her Hajat, even if she has not yet been to Mecca. And I say, Hajat, so what is your retirement plan? Because she's now complaining that, you know how they stand up the whole day? She's complaining about her legs. So I ask her, do you have insurance? Insurance,
She has no idea.
Then I ask her, because now, for 2025, she does not work on Saturdays. There's too much work and she gets tired. So I'm like, you are starting to look like you are going towards retirement. What is your retirement plan? Unfortunately, she told me, first of all, she owns the store. Because quite a number of people in those markets hire the stalls, but she owns the stall, so that is her investment. Then she has bought a plot and built her house. So I asked her, is it for rent or is that where you stay? Said, oh, no, half is for rent. I cannot, when you say it in Uganda, I cannot sleep on money when old age is coming. Yeah. So for her, she owns the store. She has this real estate where she has her own accommodation, has got some people renting. So once again, I asked, but if just in case, like the government changes and your market is no longer there, so the store will not be there. And you know, government of Uganda pays eventually. What is your plan? That is when she told me, even in the village, most of what you see me selling, I grow in the village. So if this, because it is, for me, it is better to be practical and talk about the ordinary Ugandan, because this one who is in office, it's so temporary. It's so temporary. So I would rather talk to the majority, who are those vendors, the transporters, the border guys. Maybe just one little thing about border guys. So I'm talking to this group of about 20, and I ask them, are you married? And most of them are not married. So I ask them, what is the plan? Are you going to get married, or are you going to be spreading because of the Kabaka's run? Or are you going to be spreading HIV and AIDS? Has anybody ever sat with you and actually talked to you about HIV and AIDS? And you know, they all start laughing in their jackets. But the beauty of being old, you can talk about anything.
Yes. So
I'm like, what is your retirement plan? And the answer is, but saying, I'm only 20. And I said, 20-year-olds don't retire. Have you ever visited Mulago, your special ward, where all the broken legs are? And no, don't bring bad luck here. I'm like, I'm not bringing bad luck. I'm only bringing the truth.
Yes.
So this planning for retirement, I think, is a class we should learn in school. Because people, depending on what you do, if let's say you are a boxer or you are a footballer, Okelo, our goalkeeper, is retiring. He's not 40 yet. So planning for retirement should be part and parcel of our education, so that the old people stop cursing the younger people. You did not plan for your retirement, and you are holding me responsible.
The reality is a lot of young people like to, I mean, life is for enjoying.
Exactly.
Life is for enjoyment. That's true.
But you can't lose sight of, So how do you strike the balance between financial discipline and living a life that's enjoyable?
Life with money is good.
You know?
Tell me about it.
Especially when you're young. You have a number of options. Honestly, it's tough. It's tough. The distractions are everywhere. You see cool cars on the road. At some point, It was like they're giving away free emails.
You know?
I kept thinking, okay,
Mercedes-Benz.
maybe it's time for me to get an email as well. Until after some months, someone kept telling me, but Imi, do you know how expensive it is to manage
Exactly.
an email?
Exactly.
Do you know,
They
in
don't
case
think
it
that
got
far.
a problem, do you know how many times it goes to the garage?
And you know that if it has a problem along the road, nobody will stop.
Because
You are in a different category.
exactly.
People don't know how to touch it.
At
They don't
some
know what to
point,
do.
Rudende, at some point, I kept thinking, I need an email, I need to buy it,
Yes.
I want it, I've worked hard, I want it. But over time, when I started speaking to my friends, power of community and association, I appreciated the need not to buy the email now. How can I buy the email now?
You can't.
I can't.
It doesn't make
It
financial sense to you
At all.
in your current situation.
Absolutely.
There's a friend of mine who bought one of those expensive German cars. So he went to Ginger, had a problem, called a mechanic. So the mechanic took the engine apart. So let's say it had 20 screws. He took it apart, put it together, and then there were screws left over. So he asked him, where do these go? He said, Mzee Itofayo, a Jack Tambula. You reach Kampala. He said, but these have to go somewhere. He said, no, you drive. So even our mechanics don't know how to handle these cars.
Yes, they're
Yeah, you are,
learning
like you
on
said,
job.
you're stuck on the road. Guys will be saying, I don't know.
We are in
on
category
job.
A.
They're learning on job, but also we need to learn. It's good to see that now on X, people are discussing bonds, the likes of Kakande, people are discussing treasury bills. It's good that now we are starting to pick interest in understanding how to grow our money as young people. But now also, how do we teach these things to the informal woman? How do we continuously preach insurance, savings to them? I think we shouldn't forget them as well.
That's true. There's something you said that resonated. You said they should teach financial literacy in schools.
Yes.
And the reality is there are many people of our generation and yours who say, I wish I'd learned this earlier.
Indeed. Me, especially me.
Yes. So how do you pass that down? How do we pass down that knowledge? How do you as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, how do you pass that down to the next generation of wealth creators?
Honorable, yesterday I was listening to something and the guy said, so you young people, it's raining. Are you growing anything? There is shortage of food
Of
in
everything.
in Uganda. We're importing food.
Yeah.
Why are we importing food? We young people are sleeping.
What are you doing?
What are we doing with the land? It's honorable.
Yeah. When we talk about education, that is the one area which is universal. Everybody should have education. So what you are asking, what should be that, or how can we pass this to the next generation? First of all, like I've said, let those of us who are in advocacy advocate for it to be taught in school. But be that as it may, organizations like Mukaziprunoa should take advantage of those groups of women whom they already have and get leaders to take chances. Because that is what leadership is all about. You lead and sometimes you make a mistake, but in quite a number of cases you succeed. Then when you stand up there to talk, that is why I'm telling you, I'm talking to my greengrocer at the market. She's not the most brilliant, but if and when she takes up insurance and she saves for her retirement, next meeting, because they have their different meetings. When she stands up to talk and says, I own this stall, because in every market they know who owns and who is renting. She's already respected. Once you have that respect, I own this stall. And when and if I die, I have already bequeathed it to my child, so and so. You know, with that power, the others will be saying, she has just come. We have been here longer, we are not there yet. It is much easier to get them to learn from their networks than to send Mr. Rudende with his nice jacket to teach them. They won't even listen if they turn up.
People want proof of concept,
Exactly.
how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier.
Yes.
The women will take up something because they've seen their fellow women
Exactly.
succeeding in it.
Exactly. You know, to talk about taking up something, a number of those women have got money and can afford smartphones.
Yes.
They don't buy them. They stick to the katochi.
Yeah, the capability.
Yes, capability.
Yeah.
So when you ask why don't you buy the smartphone, they are like, what for? Because they say
Because they see people use smartphones for TikTok.
exactly,
Yes.
and they don't do TikTok.
And they don't do
Yeah.
TikTok.
So Anyway, when I once again, when I ask, but why can't you, because I want to send her WhatsApp and all that, she's like, honorable Nkubira.
Call me, please. We're live on Zoom, also live on YouTube, and the questions coming in from there. This one goes to you, Honorable. It's from a recent graduate. He says, I've realized that saving isn't as favorable because money does not add value as it used to. So I've resorted to investing in agriculture. I'm doing cattle and goats. What would be your advice on this approach, madam?
Since you have given very little information about this project, the only piece of advice I'm going to give you is be there. You are the most important investment you have made in that project. For now, that project is you. I want you to know those cattle from the feet all the way to the head. Learn what it looks like when it is unwell. Learn when it wants water. Make sure, normally when we talk about water, we say give water ad lib. The word ad lib means put the water there for the cow to drink. And now that it is raining, give it so much grass that let it have other problems, but never shortage of water, shortage of grass. Make sure this grass is balanced. You know, when you go to the bush to cut the grass to feed your cow, make sure there are some legumes in that grass. Don't give it just elephant grass and see the full stomach and whatever. Then 3, as soon as you see something untoward, make sure you ask the doctor. Make friends with the vet. And let him or her know that the more cattle you have, the more business she will have. So she should not squeeze you dead because you are her. The growth of your project is the growth of the vet of the village.
That's true. This is one from Mwandara Samson to you. He says, as a fresh graduate, how can I expose myself to spaces where I can learn from?
That's a very good question. As a fresh graduate, there are so many entrepreneur support organizations with incubation programs for young people. He needs to get into those spaces. There are a number of skilling. Unfortunately, I said it's not the right time to learn to code, but he should learn to code. He should learn to use AI to see how to better to code.
As a tool.
Exactly. As a fresh graduate, to be honest, they need to go into these incubation centers. They need to associate themselves with people that are already doing the things they want to do. Let them join associations, let them join Rotary. Community really guided me on the journey I took. The people I exposed myself to, my purpose, discovering what I want to be, helped me align myself in the different spaces that challenged me every single day. And I continue to be in those spaces because I'm still learning until retirement. We never stop learning. We stop learning when we die.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
So to add to what she has just said, if you are a fresh graduate, it is a bit difficult even to know where Rotary is. My suggestion to you, go to those free places first and foremost, like which, go to church. If need be, offer to sweep the church. Because most of these successful people go to church to thank God. So for you, you are going there to widen your networks. You know, the prayer of Jabez says, widen my boundaries. God is not going to widen your boundaries if you are in the house. So go to church. Now, if you are a Muslim, make sure you are the first to arrive at the mosque. Most Muslims, I don't know how they learn it, but they know how to make money. So you go there. They will say that this Hajj will see you once, twice, third time, because they are very nice when they are at the mosque. They will ask you, who are you? And what are you doing here? And before you know, he could tell you, okay, you come and sweep my shop. You start by sweeping the shop, another Hajj will see you, and before you know, you'll be having a shop. So I want you to be ready to start with whatever you have, wherever you are.
Volunteer. Volunteer. And don't expect a lot after university. My first job after university, I was a cleaner, earning 300,000 shillings.
So be ready to start small.
With my degree, yes.
At the bottom of the scale, and then you go up. It's funny we should talk about recent graduates. This one is for you, Honorable. He says, I request that you compare and contrast between the time you graduated and today. How do I, as a graduate from the Faculty of Agriculture, get myself started in this economy where jobs are hard? It's one thing to have a mindset, but what is the economic potential for this kind of growth in comparison to back then?
First of all, for me, I graduated during Amin days. And the earlier part of Amin was really, Uganda was doing very well. That is one. Two, like I said, my story is not good to be compared to anybody else. Because for me, I walked directly from the Faculty of Agriculture into Uganda Development Bank.
Yes.
Those things are no longer there.
No.
Even at that time, they used to, we were conscripted. Everybody who was educated by the government of Uganda was supposed to work for the government of Uganda. And when I refused to fill the forms to go to work in public service, I had to be called in. These days, it is the reverse. So, okay, that is one. Then two, when I got into the bank was new, we had money, and there were very few people coming to borrow. So once in a while, because I've always been a supporter of women, most of the people who came to borrow were men. Once in a while, when I would get a woman, oh my God, I would really go out of my way, even if, let's say, you came to just find out and you forget, I'll look you up and say, let me help you. Then, of course, you know, when you go to the bank, you have got to put in your application. I would sit down and write the application for you and say, is this what you want to say? Okay, sign here. Then I would take that to my general manager. He says, okay, go and appraise. I would do it within 1 week. Your project would be ready. These days, who does that for you?
How?
Yeah. But even going back to that, the graduates, like I said, for me, when I graduated, I had done farm management and extension. Most of you who are doing agribusiness, I want to tell you this. Nearly every Ugandan, starting from the head of state, is looking for a good farm manager. You already are on the right path. So just make sure that you get some practical experience. How do you do it? There are a number of people who have got farms who are already working. Once again, go and tell this guy that I've just graduated. I have got the theoretical idea about agriculture. I would like to work on your farm. I have a friend called Njakasi along Mukono Road, and he takes in interns. The first thing he tells you is, we milk at 5 a.m. Are you ready to wake up at 5 a.m.? This young lady said, even if you milk at midnight, I will be there. She was so desperate because she told me she had nowhere to stay, but Njakasi was going to give her somewhere to stay. So she goes, does the milking, collects you name it, because it is a doing thing. Within less than 6 months, she had got a job. Yeah, because people, for us farmers, we know each other. So for you young people, just enter through one of our comrades, and before you know, you'll be having something.
It's a very interesting question here, and I'm thinking about whether I should ask it. But it's from a one Ayutaru. He says, how can you help me in terms of savings? I can save, but what to do with the money is my challenge. For instance, last year I saved up 3 million, but usually I spend it on useless things because I don't know what to plan to do with my money. What can I do? I think he's looking for a business idea.
No, but I think that sounds like short-term savings. He needs to have goals. Where are you saving?
Where are you going with it?
Yes, where are you going with it? I think before you save, have some goals. Are you saving for school fees after 10 years? Are you saving for something? In fact, when you have a goal, you're eager to save. For example, I've been struggling to complete my rentals somewhere, and I was eager to save, so that I planned. I said, if I save a certain amount of money,
then you inject
I'll
on
need
this
it
side.
to finish the houses somewhere. So I'm eager to save. I save diligently. But if you don't have a goal for saving, you're also reluctant. You can even skip the saving, right? So I think the first thing is to have a goal. Have that goal so that you work towards the goal. Yeah.
Okay.
If I can add something.
Please do.
We are talking about NSSF. As everybody knows, NSSF now has a savings scheme where they give you 11% per year. You can just put that money there, go to sleep, and it will keep increasing. That is one. Two, question to him. What are you doing in order to be able to save the 3 million? Can't you expand that and next year tell us you have saved 30 million? Three, it is the young age which works for retirement. Have you already invested for two things? Unplanned for shocks and old age. So do not spend your money just like that, as I've told you. Go to NSSF, put it there, leave it there, and save again, because that is passive. 2, whatever you are doing, expand it so that you save more. But 3, and most importantly, make sure you save for unplanned for shocks and old age. Because old age just creeps on you. I still feel like I was born yesterday, but now I'm an old woman.
It's unavoidable.
Let me address you directly. Mr. Eotaru, NSSF has a Smart Life Flexi Plan. From as low as 5,000 shillings a day, you put your money in there, flexible saving durations, you can withdraw it whenever you want to. Just walk to any NSSF branch, or if you have the mobile app, NSSF Go app, you can even go on the web or call this number, 0800 286 773. They will give you more details. And that is one of the steps you can make as a young man trying to build yourself a future. Because like Honorable rightly said, how you expect to live in your 30s, you start building it in your 20s.
Yeah.
The 30s is a baseline for the 40s. The 40s is the baseline for the 50s. You can't expect to live good in your 50s if you didn't do anything in your 40s. And by the time you hit your 60s, NSSF has given you your money.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking about it step by step, phase by phase, plan by plan.
Yeah.
So the Smart Life Flexi Plan, yes, that's one. But what advice would you give, practical steps that a fresh graduate or a fresh entrepreneur can make on their journey to building? Step 1. Like this guy who is saying 3 million I have saved, what can I do?
You've told him what to do.
Yeah,
He
we
needs
have
to
told
sign up. He needs to sign up for the policy.
We tell these people these things.
In fact, I think if I had started immediately, I got the job, I would have had enough savings by now. But I woke up late. I woke up late. They shouldn't wake up late. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't do the mistakes we made. Let them start now.
And
Honorable
do the
said the
things.
journey starts now.
It does start now.
Let them start now.
Honorable, would you like to add on to that?
The only thing I can add is stop trying to influence people, like to brag. Because I'm definitely sure when he says he spent it in useless things, he went maybe to pay for football, maybe to drink, and so on and so forth. You are you. And whenever you ask that question, I want you to imagine, just fall sick for 2 days. Or let us make it 2 weeks. This is how it happened in Uganda. You fall sick, first day everybody's like, oh my God, the hospital is overwhelmed. Everybody is there to check on you and whatever. Second day, they reduce. If you are there for 2 weeks and they put it on the forum, you know so-and-so is still in hospital. Are you sure? You know it is like, you are not supposed to be sick for so long.
Rise after 3 days, please. What are you doing for 2 weeks?
Exactly. So, the one thing that teaches you is that at the end of the day, you are alone. So this business of spending money because you want to impress, let them see, especially people who don't even understand what you are doing, who have got their own problems. This is really important. I want Ugandans to know that everybody, even a baby, has their priorities and their problems. So while you are busy buying the most expensive dress in order to go to the village could be too hungry to see your beautiful dress. So concentrate on yourself. Like I've said, plan right now. Make sure that your business, whatever is giving you 3 million, depending on what you are doing, certain things you cannot do after a certain age. So that 3 million will not be saved next year. And there is nothing worse than being rich for some time, having some money for some time. And then when you are older, you are less beautiful, you are less agile, and you are less rich.
You're poor.
It's reality. It is a reality. I'm going to stay with you, Honorable. This is from Alice on YouTube. She says, you spoke about how you and your husband made investments together. I'm 30 years old. My husband is 31 years old. We want to get a salary loan worth 70 million to purchase land and build a house to be paid over 7 years. Is this a worthy investment?
If the house is a commercial building, by all means, go ahead.
She says build a house.
No, if the house is a commercial building, by all means, go ahead. But if you want to build a house and sleep in it,
not earn from it.
Not earn from it. I wouldn't advise you to do that. Fortunately, these days, when you buy land, there are so many other things you can do with this land, even before you build a house.
True.
That is one. But not everybody does not have land. So let me use this question to talk to those young Ugandans who have land but do not have money to invest in it. Once again, you are your first investment. Go to that village where your land is and establish presence. Meaning, let the village know that there's no joking here. This land belongs to so and so or Wenchima. They have been here all this time, so don't even go there. What is the best that you can do if you have no money at all, but at least you have the social capital of having inherited the land and the neighbors know you? Just let nature manage it, meaning let those trees which are already there grow. Because umeme is now load shedding again like it used to load shed. Yes, we are back to firewood. These days when one has a function in the rural areas, the first question you have to ask is, where is the firewood person? And firewood is so expensive. So you have this land, you don't have any money to invest. There are simple trees like acacia, like eucalyptus, whatever. They're so really affordable. Go there, dig that hole, put that tree there, and you'll be surprised what you'll have 5 years from now. But back to the one who wants to borrow,
to build a house,
and go and build a house in order to sleep in it, I don't advise you at all. My advice to you would be to do what the Asians, the Chinese, the Indians, and whatever do. Squeeze yourself in that little house. Don't worry where your neighbors from the village, where your neighbors, your friend from the neighborhood is staying, that they will say, oh, for them, they stay in Nariant, in the Chaliwajal, and whatever. They are renting. So for you, go and get that house. I want to mention villages where you can find those of $500,000. Stop paying 1 million to a landlord in order to impress people who don't know you and who don't care. Go and stay in that small house. If you are to get this money and you get this plot, make sure it is a commercial plot. It could either be commercial agriculture or commercial building. But even when you are putting up a commercial building, first look and see. Some towns and cities are oversubscribed with commercial buildings, and they don't have people renting. So before you do anything, first ask all those questions. Am I going to get money from here? Am I likely to get people renting? And will they be at that level? Sometimes it may even be good you get this commercial plot, you establish a katale where people come and put their own stalls, and you collect.
Honorable, recently I was reading a book for Katikiro, Charles Maiga, and he was advising us young people not to rush to construct houses.
I agree with
However, now if you get to 40 and you have your house, it's an achievement.
Yes.
How do we avoid this distraction of rushing to construct so that I have my house by 40?
Stop bragging.
Stop
bragging. Because your life is your life. Even if I'm your aunt, sister to your father, what have I got to do with where you sleep when you are in Kampala? You come to visit and I'm in a small house, and maybe she will say things like, from what we have heard, I expect a double story. That you're like, no, madam, this is where we are. She will run out of words. I remember one time we took a relative to hospital, and she was, those people were always sick. So I said, you are going to go to hospital, they're going to check everything. So they're going to take a whole day. So at the end of the day, we go to pick her up. I'm with my husband. And once we are in the car, my husband hoots. And someone, say, a young boy there. So the patient asks my husband, oh, is this car for pushing? Yakusindika? Then my husband is, yes, yeah, mwana wange. But he was calling that person to pay the parking fees. But he did not, the point here is he did not urge. Is it for pushing? Yes, madam. Then the man came, he paid, and we left.
Lo and behold, the car starts.
She kept quiet completely. From there was no more conversation. So I want Ugandans to learn that you don't owe any explanation to anybody. Your life is your life. Because eventually, when you make enough money and you build the house of your choice in the area of your choice, there are the ones who say, we didn't see this coming.
Couple of questions here. James Engaville says, I'm no longer working with the private sector. Can my current account support Smart Life voluntary savings? Yes, it can, sir. 0800 286 773, NSSF Go web app, or walk into any NSSF branch. Ask them about Smart Life Flexi Plan. saving from as low as 5,000 shillings. Ereu Felix here says, I see the empowerment is only for women. When will there be a day for men as well? This is my camera, eh? Okay. Felix, is mindset only for women? March is International Women's Month, hence the focus on women. But there are many things you should have learned as a human being if your mind was open
Today.
from what people have talked about here. Because entrepreneurship does not only affect the women. Leadership does not only affect the women. Do better, my friend. We have one here from Juliet Najema. This is for you. How can you advise me, like yourself, to balance entrepreneurship with full-time employment?
There is no balancing. There is never balance.
But
It's the
there must be
reality.
boundaries, my friend.
No, there is never balancing. I'm here, I'm cheating my entrepreneurship, I'm cheating my 8 to 5. But I'm present. I try to be present in places where I am. You can never balance. It's the truth.
Yeah. You find a way.
You find a way. I run Mukazipreneur 24/7. While I'm running it 24/7, I'm cheating my husband. I'm cheating my son. But over the weekend, I am present for my husband and son. On Sunday, I'll throw in a luombo, you know, for him to appreciate him. I try to be present where I am, but there is never balance.
So you have to understand the sacrifices you'd have to make if you're going to grow both of them.
Yes.
And you can't rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Yes, and you need to be present where you are. You give your best where you are.
In the moment.
Yes.
As it is.
Yes.
Okay. Keep the questions coming in on YouTube and Zoom.
But
Please.
about balancing, for me, because I left the bank and went into politics. Now, from 1980 to 86, when I went into politics, now and then I would go into politics. You know, I was really doing the real campaigning and all that. But the beauty of it is that most of the campaigns are over the weekend.
Yes.
So first time when I went and I was on TV that I had joined politics, the bank asked me if I wanted to leave. And I asked, what is the policy? I work here from Monday to Friday. What I do on Saturday and Sunday is
Nothing to do
completely
with the
my
bank.
business.
I've given you my 40 hours.
Exactly. So the balance, for me, I was balancing it, but some people were feeling a little bit different. So sometimes, like she said, you draw the boundaries. I drew the boundaries.
Boundaries are very important. I hope Julie Najamba has gotten that. Before I hand it back to Anna Maria Sanyu, here she is, well done. That opening, performance anxiety is real, by the way, 2 in 5 men. But I hope I did a good job. I'm going to ask for parting shots. I'll start with you, Amy.
Oh, parting shots. My parting shots to the Ugandans out there: be resilient, keep fighting. We all have shocks, we all have problems. It's what it is, but find something that grounds you. I talked about alcohol, it's a short term. You still have a hangover tomorrow. For me, what grounds me is my spiritual life. I've noticed that I'm grounded there. I have hope when I'm intentional about my spiritual journey. But work hard, keep fighting. We young people need to get our country out of the chaos.
True.
We have so many problems in Uganda, but who is going to come up with the solutions? We need to come up with the solutions ourselves as Ugandans. So I call upon young people, let's step up. The problems are there, but let's keep looking out for solutions. Let's keep alive. Let's keep happy. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep thriving.
Like the song goes, we are the pillars of tomorrow's Uganda.
One Uganda, one Safa.
No, we're not taking that one anymore. Honorable Sechitoleko.
Yeah, I would definitely want to start by thanking NSSF for coming up with a program which accommodates older people. You know, the world is so quick at judging. So and so, especially you hear this among the creatives, especially the singers. Oh, you're mukadde. Why should it be your job to tell me how old I am? So I'm glad NSSF, you stopped leaving us out. I'm glad that we are accommodated, and I would like to encourage my fellow older people. You may be asking, what am I saving for? Do you know how many more years you still have? And do you know what a joy it is when you have got a regular income when you are retired? 2, when we talk about young people, you know, the young people expect this and the other, but they are the ones who normally see how old we are. They will tell you how maybe you should downgrade your car, get a smaller car. You're like, this is my money, why should I get a smaller car? Somebody recently wanted to go to India for just a general body checkup. And this family member was saying, but that can be done in Nakasero. It's like, for you. For me.
Don't project your reality onto me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Then when it comes to, let's say, parties and celebrations, somebody will tell you, maybe this will happen after the old people have left. One time I was seated with a bishop, and he's the one who overheard that. So I told them, the bishop and I are not going anywhere. Because we are the ones financing the party. So in the only way you can stay in charge is if you are financially able. But you are going to be financially able if you are healthy. You will be healthy if you are in charge of what you eat. This is very important to Ugandans, especially you Ugandan men. You go and work for your money, you take it home to a wife who is not there and a maid who is illiterate. So you go home, they give you matoke and whatever. Yesterday you brought cabbage, the cabbage is not there. Apparently, according to culture, you cannot go in there to say what happened to the greens. You want to live a long life and enjoy your retirement. Look after your nutrition. Thank you. Enjoy the day.
Yes. I hope Ereo Felix has realized that what they have said is gender neutral, and all these things apply to you as a man as well. Thank you for pointing out, Honorable, that the National Social Security Fund does not have socialism, but rather engages the people of all ages.
Exactly.
Anna Marie Sanyu, I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah. Thank you so much to our panelists. I'm amazed. I have so much notes. I hope I get a chance to talk about a few things. We are privileged to have both of you and you for this webinar. And we are also grateful to our people that are watching us. We have a good number on all social media platforms. We don't take your time for granted. We don't take your data for granted, but we hope that you pick something and you learn. Some of the few things I've written down. Someone say, I think it was Honorable, sorry. Honorable said she gave out cows in 1990, and some of the ladies are still running this project.
Yes.
That project is older than me, but it's still going on. I would like to meet one of them.
There's a reason they say agriculture is the backbone of Uganda.
Of Uganda, yeah. Then someone mentioned change mindset. The world is moving very fast. I think that was Imi. She said technology is working our jobs at a very, very fast rate. So we need to change our mindsets. We need to think differently and have different ball games to play.
Don't think about technology as a competitor.
Yeah.
Think of it as a tool.
It's an
Exactly.
enhancer.
How can you use it to make your job easier? How can you use it to make yourself better?
Yeah, and I liked when she mentioned that as they were training women, they actually started inviting in the men. You see this agenda of women first and all, we are forgetting the men. I like the aspect of bringing back the men.
Felix.
I'm saying that as a mother to a boy and as a woman who is married to a man. I really, really would like us to bring back the men and move together and move at the same pace, or even allow them to move faster than us. It's not such a bad thing after all. So she also mentioned that we need to bring back community and association. Remember those days where a community would raise a child?
Yes.
These days everyone is raised alone, and that shapes mindsets and behaviors. She also talks about creating boundaries. Honorable has been appreciated by many, many people. There's Robert Mutuwa, who said, very insightful, the minister's mindset sailed. Another one from Abia said, Honorable Victoria, you are treasure. You are such a good ambassador of insurance. You are a fountain of knowledge. I am glad to be learning from you today. And these were on almost all social media platforms that I looked at. They appreciated the panel. They appreciated all of you, and you did a very amazing job. And I hope the people that are watching us today have picked something. So before we conclude everything, I would like to think about, let me first finish. I would like to talk about Smart Life, because there were so many questions about Smart Life.
Yes.
And that's where the Honorable kept saying, NSSF has embraced even the older people, because when we were only mandatory, you could only save with NSSF when you were employed by a company, right? The only other person that was able to voluntarily save then was a member who was once a member but now exited from employment, and they held an NSSF number. So they were able to make voluntary savings. But right now as we speak, you have two options to save with NSSF. Option number one, you can say, me, I want to save for my retirement. So keep the money away from me. You can save as an unemployed person. You can save as a person who is in an organization. That means that if you choose that option, we treat you as a mandatory saver.
Yeah.
So all the terms and conditions that apply to a mandatory saver will apply to you also. Option number 2 is the Smart Life Flexi account. This is a second wallet. It does not take away your mandatory account, right? So then you don't tell Sanyu to stop contributing for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
So it doesn't take away your mandatory account, but it helps you to save over and above
Yeah.
for your medium, for your short term, and for your long term needs if you wish.
So I can't pull from this.
No, you
to
can't
this.
pull from. You can only do that if you have qualified. Say I'm 55 and I don't want to walk out with all my money.
Yeah.
You
Put it
can
in
get
Smart
from
Life.
here and put in Smart Life because of the flexibility that Smart Life holds.
Okay.
Smart Life will be giving interest on. Smart Life compounds your interest daily, but it credits it on a monthly. So every month that NSSF Smart Life account slips with your money, you will be generating more money, and this interest is compounding. Smart Life, you can open it whether you're already a member of NSSF or you're not a member of NSSF. Just go to the NSSF website, click Smart Life and register. It is for all of us, Ugandans and refugees.
No age
If you
limit.
have a national ID, you can register. If you're a refugee and you have your refugee card, you can register. If you're a non-national and you have your passport, you can register. Smart Life, you can withdraw your money as and when you wish. However, the catch is in the first year of saving, you don't withdraw anything. We catch your money for that 1 year, and then the next years you're able to make your withdrawals. And it starts from 5,000 shillings. How do you make your credits? You make your credits with mobile money. You make your credits in the bank. For now, Smart Life is only with Stanbic Bank. I hope I've answered all the questions
Yes.
about Smart Life.
You spoke
But
about the
I would
web.
like,
Also, the app can be used.
yes, the app can be used.
Okay.
Mostly to the people who are already members, they're familiar with the app. When you look at your app, there's like a tab there that has Smart Life. Click on it and you follow the prompts. I like the one other thing I would like to talk about is when someone asked about starting a business, and Honorable answered it, and she said, if you're to start a new project, learn about that project. She used the example of the cattle. She said, learn that cattle from head to feet. Please learn about everything that you wish to start. And that's why NSSF Financial Literacy is here, to help you with such things. Please reach out. For the projects that we know of, we will help. For the ones that we don't know, we will guide you to the people that are qualified to give the right information for you to do what you want to do. You had a question.
Mine is not a question. The 35-year project, the Heifer project in Entebbe, that would be an amazing success story to document. Because people are reacting and saying, we didn't even know that was happening. 35 years, that's older than me. So it'd be great for posterity if that can be documented and you can show the impact, the real life impact. Because the lady who got the cow educated her child, who is now a doctor, who treated these people, a member of parliament, 2 members of parliament. You said somebody in
Sebwana. You know the Sebwanas in Uganda, the Kabaka has Saza chiefs.
Yes.
He's the Saza chief for Busiro.
And Balimwezo,
And
Ronald
Balimwezo is the
Bamilezo,
MP.
honorable,
Yeah.
who is an MP.
Yeah.
Wow.
From these cows. That's an amazing success story. Food for thought.
Okay. Thank you for that. So before we conclude our webinar, usually we ask our panelists to leave us with something, and we make it as easy as a book, a podcast, anything for people to learn beyond what you have shared. We start with you?
Oh, please, you want to start with me?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my camera.
Yeah.
There's a great book called How to Survive by John Hudson. He was the survival instructor for the SAS, who are British commandos. But he takes lessons from them and how you can use them in real life, and he's updated it to include what happened during COVID-19. I think it's a very great book to read for everybody. I want to give a self-help book about financial art, about how to influence people, how to survive. It's a very, very important book by John Hudson. Check it out.
Thank you. Amy?
I have a number of books, but I'll go with Shoe Dog, the Nike guy, the guy who started Nike. The book, he really shares his resilience, how he fought to get the business from ground, the partners he got on board over time, where he got materials from outsourced. It teaches you resilience, how to keep fighting to better your entrepreneurship journey, but also the journey you want to take in life. Yes, you should get that book and read it.
Thank you.
For me, I've already written my book, The Farmer's Daughter. So you want to know what I read or what I wrote, Farmer's Daughter. But for a book for you to survive, for me, I love Don't Sweat Small Stuff. So in other words, I don't believe in fighting tiny battles and even doing very small projects. If let's say I'm going to do chicken, I cannot do 2, I will do 20. So don't sweat small stuff, don't do small stuff, you know. But the book is Don't Sweat Small Stuff. You will learn and learn a lot. And you end up being so happy when you see that, oh,
You've done
you know,
things.
yeah, don't sweat small stuff.
You come with a copy of your book?
No. I didn't know she was going to ask.
But I'm going to reach out for one of those.
Please
Me
do.
too.
Thank you, Honorable, and thank you to all of you guys once again. Thank you for being with us today. I'd like to also send appreciation to the financial literacy team. Thank you, my team that sits down and thinks about the topics and thinks about the panelists and thinks about Rudende and thinks about everyone and also coordinates everything. We'd like to thank also the guys that help us with the streaming. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who has chosen to be with us today. We have short 2 minutes into your time, but we are very grateful for you. We are very grateful for choosing to be with us. Our recordings remain on all NSSF social media platforms. Please make time in your free time, listen in again and learn something more and more. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the day. To our Muslim colleagues, Eid Mubarak and enjoy. Bye-bye.
Amen.
Bye.
Bye.
As the sun rises across Uganda, a new dawn in luxury living awakens. Solana Lifestyle in Residences is Uganda's newest, most prestigious and award-winning lifestyle destination, an address for those who dream differently. At Solana, you're close enough to the hustle of the city, but far enough to come home to a sanctuary of smart living. Join a community of like-minded individuals where everything is taken care of and safety and security comes standard, where each community has a clubhouse, play area, pool, and other incredible features. Let an oasis of calm greet you at the end of each day with manicured gardens, pathways, parks, bicycle tracks, and so much more. Whether you're upscaling or settling down, buying a first home or investing,
Solana has it all. Uganda is now open to the world.